Welcome to KNCO Insight, Nevada County Action, KNCO's local issue talk show. This is your chance to gain insight into issues affecting Nevada County. Now here is your host, Tom Fitzsimmons.
All right, KNCO News Time about 107, 58 degrees. Mainly sunny out there. Some nice little puffy clouds kind of floating on by. Some of them is going up to the mountains to check out the engine tour that the ladies are doing up there. Second stage was today. So hopefully you have time to check out the engine tour this weekend. A whole bunch of stuff happening this weekend. Obviously, it's Mother's Day weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Congrats to our mom, whose daughter sent in the entry for our Mother's Day promotion. That was Jessica Waters, I believe, of Marysville, that sent it in. And she was the grand prize winner. Are you putting on your spectacles there, Dave Bear?
Yeah, it's easier than playing trombone.
Yes, all right.
Yes, Jessica Walters.
Yeah. Jessica Waters.
Waters. Yeah. I'm in the dark.
You are kind of in the dark. We have multimedia stuff going on here. We have a celebrity guest today. She has become a celebrity guest.
Jeff Flynn just photobombing you in the background there.
All right. Because next to you, Gil Dominguez is here, Touchdown Productions. He's in the house because today's guest is somebody we had on right around the first of the year is when she stepped off with her horse Apollo, Meredith Cherry, back here in Nevada County as she is back from visiting home for a short time, for about a week from the Centauride. Am I saying that right, Meredith, when I say Centauride?
Centauride, however you like it.
Yeah. I like it that it's Meredith Cherry's ride, you and Apollo. How are you doing?
We're doing great. We've made it up to Seattle, and Apollo's continuing his little break in Seattle while I visit family.
All right. So where is Apollo hanging out? Is he just at a bar? Is he, there's a lot to do in Seattle. Is he at the fish market catching fish or what? What's he doing?
Oh, yeah. He likes going up in the Space Needle and catching the ferry and that sort of thing. He actually did ride the ferry a few weeks ago to go out to Bainbridge Island.
Bainbridge Island. I saw that on your Facebook. Yes.
Yeah, his first ferry ride, and he did very well. He enjoyed himself. There were lots of people on the ferry that shared the apples from their brown bag lunches with him, so he enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, very nice. Have people been very excited to see you, and once they hear your story, even more excited?
Oh, yes. We've been getting such a positive response everywhere we've been going. Just complete strangers see us, come up and talk to us. How often do you see a horse on the road? So you got to stop and talk to the person with the horse whenever they come by.
Yeah, and if you recall, we've had quite a winter. It seems like...
It's been a little wet.
It's been a little damp.
Just a little wet.
We started off with a real winter at the first of the year when you stepped off from Penn Valley.
In the rain.
In the rain. Did you ever think, Meredith, here you are doing this ride, by the way, for domestic violence awareness. Did you ever think it wouldn't stop raining at one point? Did you wonder if this was like a biblical type of event you were taking part in?
That did cross my mind, although I rode through more than 40 days of rain, so I thought it had gone beyond biblical proportions.
I bet so. I bet your Apollo felt that way too.
Yeah, we were both a little soggy for a while.
All right. It's been fun watching your stuff on Facebook. What's your Facebook? What's the best way to find you on Facebook?
On Facebook, you can search for Meredith and Apollo. The full name of the page is Meredith and Apollo's Centauride, but if you type in Meredith and Apollo, it pops right up. And that's the best way to follow us. I also have a website, centauride.org, and Instagram, Twitter, whatever your favorite social media is, talk to me.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And that's the reason Gil is here, because Gil was there on your very first stepping off day. He emceed that event at the rodeo grounds down in Penn Valley. So this is going to be from what I understand, on your Facebook page, right? Or do you know that?
This interview?
This video and stuff.
I believe so.
Is that right, Gil? You got the thumb up from Gil.
All right.
See,
it's very quiet.
This is it. And as Dave Bear is in the dark. Now, why are the lights off in there?
There was a glare issue, and
now, okay.
I'm assuming it was coming off my noggin.
Are we saying that because of the lack of follically challenged that there was a glare issue?
No, it wasn't you at all, Tom.
Are you
sure? It wasn't you. It was because it was on this side of the glass.
It might have been Tom.
You see what I'm saying here? This is
her mic shuts off, doesn't it?
There it goes, right there. She's gone. There's a senior project button right there. You see how we educate the youth here?
That was easy.
Now, here's the thing. As we go through the show today, We're going to be talking about domestic violence and how how the awareness is happening as you're writing. But I had an interesting conversation with Kaylee because here she is, a Bear River senior. And this isn't to put anybody on the spot or anything as far as teachers, administration. However, a lot of years I've been talking to the DVSAC, and there's been this outreach to make sure the kids in the high school are being aware that sexual assault's a problem, domestic violence is a problem. Certainly for the jocks that I deal with, since I do play-by-play sports with the guys, that hopefully they're being talked to be respectful. Your prom is when? Just about a week?
A week from tomorrow.
Week from tomorrow. Exactly that. To be respectful for your dates and all the women in your life, for that matter, and vice versa. The women be respectful of the guys. But you were sharing with me that you really haven't heard much in your 4 years.
No, in all 4 years that I've been at Bear River, I have never, in the classroom or in an assembly or any sort of venue, had been told or been warned about sexual violence or domestic violence. I cannot recall a time where this has been discussed, and that's really upsetting to me. I know that I'm the president of the Gay Straight Alliance down there, and we talk about it sometimes because there are these awareness days. We'll talk about it with my counselor and the people in that club, but we've never on a broad spectrum of the entire school had that sort of discussion.
All right. Now Meredith, that I guess that shows you part of what your ride's all about, to get awareness out there.
Exactly. It's a silent issue. It's not something that's talked about like it should be. It's so common. 1 in 3 women will experience domestic violence in their lifetime, and usually by the age of, I think it's 32 or something like that, early 30s. And a large part of that is learning what healthy relationships should be like when you're in high school and college, when you first start dating, and it's not talked about. So with domestic violence, the cycle is it starts off like a mostly normal relationship. It's loving and wonderful, and then it gets progressively worse. But there's warning signs, and those are what the young people need to be talked to about what to watch for, what the red flags are, so they can see a dangerous relationship before it actually becomes dangerous.
All right. And for those that don't know, you're a survivor of domestic violence in your relationship. When did that start, by the way, as far as age?
The relationship started when I was 18. 18.
So and you're?
I'm 18.
18. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. This is it. This is like really hits home when you think about it. And you stayed in that relationship for how long?
About 12 years. Yeah. And it was, like I said, it started off wonderful, but there was red flags I wasn't aware of. And it can happen to anybody. I was top of my class in high school, honors, AP, all that sort of stuff. Very smart kid. And, came from happy family, no history in my family of this sort of thing, and yet it still happened to me.
Yeah, but you're surviving, and now riding across our country. I'm glad you're on a break, but we're going to continue our conversation. In a moment. Let's take a break. I think I can wing this. You know what I'm saying there, Dave? Yeah, I can wing this. KNCO News Time right now, 1:16. We'll be back here in moments. Oh, yeah, I'm back. KNCO News Time, 1:21. All right.
I feel very uncoordinated today.
It's 58 degrees, and I understand. Dave Bear is in his room there. He has Gil Dominguez from Touchdown Productions in the house. An interesting thing when they are in here filming. Now, I have 2 guests in here. Actually, one main guest is Meredith Cherry. She is on her ride across the United States, and she happens to have a week off that where she's come back home here in Nevada County from Washington State. That's where she left Apollo. Raising Awareness of Domestic Violence. Kaylee's here from Bear River. High school senior. By the way, putting on the Ritz tonight.
Putting on the Ritz tonight at 7 o'clock at Bear River High School.
And tomorrow as well, right?
Tomorrow at 7 o'clock at Bear River High School.
Very good. Well, you got that. You got that down, girl. And here's the thing. Gil Dominguez is here filming this because this is going to get posted. He took a lot of time, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of time during the break to get everything arranged, to get my guests in a proper thing, to get microphone booms, the support system that holds the microphone
right
out of the way so we can
out
see
of the shot.
Look where he leaves my thing here. I got a piece of.
It's really the best.
It's on purpose, Tom.
It's really for the
Apparently
best.
it's on-
We don't want to see your face.
Hi, Gil. Anyway, I just noticed that.
Yeah. Well,
All right. No. Oh, it's fine. No, it's too late now, Gil. Don't try to have it. We're back on the show. You had plenty of time. All right. Again, if you're just joining us, Meredith here.
but you'll notice we got my microphone out of the way of your
Yes,
shot.
because we know. Yes. Okay. Apollo's up in Seattle at a. Is it at a friend's place? Is it at a veterinarian place or a horse farm? Or where's
A
Apollo
horse
at?
farm.
It's at a lady's house that she keeps horses of her own. It's just a private home, horse property. And she heard about what I was doing and offered that Apollo could stay there for as long as he needed to until the snow clears from the Cascades. So
That's
I
right.
can get over.
That's your stop right now. I remember
Yeah.
talking to you when we check in with your monthly visit. That a lot of snow, obviously, up there, just like here in the Sierra. What's the time frame of it clearing where you can actually start heading east?
That is a very good question, and that's why
I asked those things.
That's why I have time this week to come home and visit friends and family, because there's more snow than normal, and the pass is not clear yet. I'm expecting that I'll be able to get on the road in about a week and a half.
A week and a half, and that's leaving Seattle, heading east. But what type of towns basically will you be going through? For example, this young lady's going up to Gonzaga. That's in
Spokane, Washington.
the Spokane area. Are you going towards there?
Okay, I'll be headed not to Spokane, but I'll be south of there.
Okay.
All right. Now, of course, you're in Seattle now. You went through the city of Portland. Major cities, certainly for the
Through
Northwest.
downtown.
Yeah. Downtown Portland.
Yes.
That's been a crazy place when I think about downtown. There's riots and everything going on there, with political stuff. How were they when they saw you and Apollo? Because they're also a very welcoming community.
It was raining, so there weren't a lot of people out.
Oh, that's a shocker up there, huh?
I was just going to say, I was looking at the forecast for Seattle, and it's supposed to rain the next 4 or 5 days. What a shock that must be.
Very, very shocking.
Yeah.
No, it's people of Portland were very excited to see a horse on the street, because who does that, really? Who takes a horse through the middle of a city? So they'd never seen that before, and so it took me almost twice as long to get through the city as it normally takes me to get anywhere, because I had to keep stopping to talk to people. But that's great. That's my whole purpose, is to stop and talk to people. So it was a very long day, but it was enjoyable, and Apollo did great with all the big city life.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Did he get some sparkle for his hooves to go to the, go clubbing or something?
No, he got, he has fancy hiking boots,
Okay.
and he wears bells on his feet.
He wears bells on his feet?
He does. And we go clip-clopping and jingle-belling through the streets.
Does he enjoy having bells on his feet? Have you figured that out, or is...
I think he enjoys it. He knows that means business, and
Oh.
it's time to walk. And he gets all excited that means that we're not just doing some, staying at home of wherever home is for the day training. We're actually going to go walking, and he gets all excited about it.
All right. Now, as you progressed up to the Pacific Northwest, I know you at nighttime we have Lars Larson on, and we talked about this last time. You were on the Lars Larson show, which is a big syndicated show across the nation. How has the word gotten out there, and how many newspapers or other media have picked up your story?
Most of the word of mouth is just people seeing me and stopping to talk to me, and then telling their friends and following on Facebook and spreading the word that way. People that I stop with at night, whatever stranger I'm stopping with to stay at their house for the night, lets all their friends know and helps find me places to stay the next night, hopefully. And then there's been a couple dozen newspapers, radio, TV that have picked it up.
Do you feel comfortable doing the media stuff at this point?
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
You're like a celebrity.
Sure.
I mean,
Would you say it's easy?
It's not hard. I think sometimes people ask difficult questions.
You don't have to point at me.
But pointing for Gil to get this on the camera.
All right, Gil, knock it off, Gil.
And but most of the time, it's people want to know the same sorts of things, so it's getting easier to answer the questions.
All right, well, I want to know something about this horse. All right, does the horse get checked out along the way? I forgot to ask you that. Like, if there are vet checks that you do or you plan to do within your budget, how does that all work out?
Yeah, for legal purposes, he has to be vet checked before we cross most borders.
Most state borders, okay.
Most state borders. He ideally gets a vet check every month or two, even if I don't need one by law, just to make sure that he's still doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if he needed one for if he was having some sort of health problem, I've been in areas where there's always a vet within a reasonable drive, but he's not needed anything like that, thank goodness.
You'd say he was healthy as a horse.
He's as healthy as a horse.
Healthy as a horse. That brings up you. How about your checks? How are you doing to make sure you're healthy and strong and doing well? I mean, do you have a thermometer? Are you taking vital signs and all that stuff? How are you handling all this?
For myself?
For yourself. Yeah. I'm a parent.
Yeah.
It's Mother's Day weekend. Pretend I'm your mom. That's a stretch.
That's a lot.
Okay, that's a stretch.
I think she would object to that.
Boy, that would be something, huh? Boy, the beard would be a dead giveaway.
I think I'm healthier now than I've ever been, at least stronger.
Mm-hmm.
It's an awful lot of exercise. Definitely more physically challenging than anything I've ever done, but I've got so many new muscles now. I eat well. Generally speaking, I stop at strangers' houses every night, and usually they want to feed me, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I carry food for myself, though. I don't assume anyone's ever going to feed me, but I do have my own healthy food with me, and I have a bag of first aid for myself and for Apollo, so we're set for emergencies.
All right. For people, I know we have to take a news break here in a moment, so I want people to get out a pen and pencil. We'll go through this again. But how can people find out about your ride and keep up with where you are on the ride? Because I always think that's fascinating. It seemed like it was going slow in the beginning, and all of a sudden it seemed like, boom, you're shooting up the coast and all that stuff.
Yep. The best way is Facebook. I post almost every day when we're actually on the road. And that's, you can search on Facebook for Meredith and Apollo's Centauride, or visit my blog, which is centauride.org. That's CENTAURIDE.org. And I'm also on Twitter, Instagram. I have a YouTube channel, and email, phone, whatever.
So you've been well connected. Are you worried about being unconnected? I know Dave lived in northern Colorado, but in a town. I mean, I imagine it's going to be places where it's going to be tough to be connected once we get into more.
There's a lot of wide open spaces
rural
in
areas.
the western United States where you don't even get an AM radio signal.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be times when I don't get a cell signal and then I can't post to Facebook. But those spaces should not last longer than a week at the most, with a very few exceptions. And so far, I've been sticking to major roads and towns, so I've been able to keep connected.
All right. We're going to take a break here because we do have a news update. I think Jeff Flynn's dying to get on the air with a news update. We got a weather forecast for our Mother's Day weekend. We'll be right back. News time, 1:36, 58 degrees. Welcome back to KNCO Insight. Meredith Cherry in the house. And she's on TV as she's doing this radio thing because Gil Dominguez from Touchdown Production in the house. Dave Bear taking care of Gil in there, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah. I have adjusted the boom on my mic, so now...
look, we can see you.
Isn't that a good thing?
Can you fix it to get back up?
Yes, I can. Actually, I can. We can take care of that. Meredith, of course, here back home from Washington State from her ride because the Cascades have to lose some snow. She'll be pretty much stepping off in the next week and a half. Or we're hoping week and a half, 2 weeks. What'd you get your mom for Mother's Day? Let's get this out in the open right now. What does a horsewoman
Maybe it's a
get?
surprise,
I think
Tom.
the family's listening, so I can't say.
You can't say?
See?
Actually, I know the family's listening because they're texting me while I'm sitting here.
Who's texting you?
My dad is texting me and telling me what I should be talking about.
What did he say? Shouldn't he? He should be
He should
texting
be
me,
talking
Dad.
to you.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm busy here.
Let me see.
but
You got the
yeah,
phone? Let me
yeah.
see. I'll
He
take this.
says.
I'll text him right back.
He
Doesn't he know you're
says.
busy?
Look out, Dad.
Dad says.
Yes.
Talk about satellite connection for safety, because we were just talking about how I'm staying safe and healthy on the ride.
Yes.
And he's referring to a spot tracker GPS that I wear.
Okay. Now, how does that work?
It was donated by a Nevada County family, Jane and Andre. Thank you guys if you're listening.
Very nice.
It's been a very helpful tool. It sends out a satellite signal of where I am every 5 minutes. And so I've got a group of family and friends that are able to access that website and see where I am. So if they don't hear from me in a while, they can look and see what happened to me.
That's a great thing. Mm-hmm. That's a great. Matter of fact, Dave, if you can get the Kaylee's mom and dad on, probably for prom, try to get the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The one
Thanks, Tom.
to you? Yeah, there you go. We get that.
Meredith
all covered.
understands.
All
Jamie's
right.
not happy.
Anything else your dad says we should talk about? What else is he saying in there? He's listening kind of closely, isn't he?
Not yet, but I'll keep an eye on this thing.
What's the best mileage you've made in one day?
The furthest I've gone in one day is 19 miles. That was a very long day. Typically, we go around 12.
Yeah.
And you have a certain technique that you're using. Can you explain your technique of riding? Didn't it have to do with cavalry or the way the Army used to travel? Am I wrong on that?
There's some elements of that. There haven't been many people that travel by horse, of course, anymore on long distances. And the way the cavalry would do it is they would ride 50 minutes, and then they would stop for 10 and let their horse graze, and then ride another 50 minutes, and then graze for 10. So every hour it was broken up like this, so that the horse could have enough to eat all day and not just rely on the calories it could eat at night. And so that's what I'm trying to do with Apollo, is stop frequently, which is why we only go 12 miles a day, because we're stopping a lot for him to eat.
Yeah, all right. You know, it's kind of ironic about that. That's the way our news team works, too. They
Pretty
kind of
much.
do a couple of stories, and they eat for 10 minutes.
Eat for 10 minutes. Primarily donuts. Not crazy.
I actually adopt a different technique. I eat for 50 minutes, and then I'll
Eat
work
for
for
50?
about 10.
Oh, she kidding. Look at this tiny little thing. That's Kaylee, and she's sweet. All right. So the whole thing about getting the word out about domestic violence, and I know that's the whole key to this thing. Have you had a chance to address any schools or any large groups? I guess besides people that you meet at night and they find out about you and stuff through social media, have you had any chance to outreach that way?
I have a little bit. It's difficult to coordinate because I don't know exactly where we'll be more than a few days ahead.
True. Okay.
But I have stopped at a couple of advocacy groups and shelters to talk to them, and I've talked to some other small groups like that.
All right. Are you keeping a diary or a journal of what's happened during the day or anything like that, where you sit down and write everything down?
Oh, yes. It's a rather complex journaling process. I have a diary journal for stories and stuff. I have a data journal for mileage and weather and elevation change and whatnot. I have my photo documentation. And
when do you? I mean, it sounds. I'm not a horseback rider. Okay, I'm a city kid. When are you snapping pictures and doing all that stuff? I figured you just holding onto your horse.
Apollo moves his own feet.
Well, that's true. So. Don't be a wise guy. All right, you don't have to talk down to me. I got that figured out. I mean, the cops, where I grew up, cops had horses. All right, it was in the city. That's who had horses, cops. All right, so...
Yeah, he knows his job is to go forward,
Yeah.
And he's quite happy doing it. And he's funny. If I ever miss a turn or somebody shouts behind me, hey, I want to meet you and pet your horse, and they're behind, he does not want to turn around and go back because that's not the way he's supposed to go. But he's really good about that. So I'm able to take pictures and little videos while I'm riding or walking.
All right. Being that you're back home, it is Mother's Day weekend and stuff. How tough is it going to be to go through the departure process again? Are you going to fly back to Seattle and catch up with Apollo and stuff? How tough is that goodbye process going to be again?
Goodbyes are always hard, for sure. But, I'll be back for Thanksgiving at least.
Okay, you can be back then.
That's
All right.
my plan.
We'll put that in.
That's like 6 months from now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like going to college.
There you
Really.
go.
I'm getting
tell her.
So
You can't
when
bring
you
your
go away
laundry
for
home.
college, I did bring my laundry home.
You did?
Yes.
Fantastic.
But I don't carry very much, so it wasn't like coming home from college and you've got a truckload of laundry. So, I'm getting an advanced degree in horses right now. So
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Are you happy you're doing it?
yeah, it's been very enjoyable.
Okay, now this is kind of a personal. I don't want anybody taking it, especially on the TV land. You said you have new muscles that you're discovering. Does your butt hurt after sitting on a horse for this many miles? I mean,
my knees more than my butt, and my feet most of all because mostly I've been walking for safety along the roads.
I had no idea you were walking that much. Really?
Whenever the traffic's too fast, then I get off and I walk. And unfortunately, from that regard, I've been walking a lot because I've been on some highways and whatnot. So sometimes I walk all day. Sometimes I walk half the day, but I do a lot of walking.
All right. And now, of course, and I think about you on these trails and on sometimes roadways. I know your dad was the big guy behind the scenes that helped make the route that you're taking. Am I correct on that? If I remember, he was helping to plan that route with you?
Somewhat, yeah. He likes maps too. So.
All right. I mean, how's it working out? Is it what you expected route-wise, or because of the weather and the incredible rains we've had out west in particular, have things changed as you were stepping off and going
I had to throw the
courses?
whole map out.
You had to throw the whole map? Seriously?
I worked for over a year on my maps, and I threw them all out
threw
in
them
the
all
first
out?
week. Uh-huh.
First, plans are great,
Yeah,
militarily speaking.
yeah,
They don't exist past the point of first contact.
pretty much.
Yeah.
The basic plan has mostly not changed, except for, well, maybe like a third of the total route has entirely changed. And the rest of it is more that I thought I could plan in advance the minor roads that I would take specifically, and that has not been the case. I have to just figure out the exact roads I'll be on the night before.
Wow. All right. That's pretty intense. Mm-hmm. All right. Do the people you stay with, these nice, kind souls, and we'll talk about them on our last break, some of the people you've met, have they been very helpful going, hey, I know a great route that could work going in that direction?
That's part of why I have to plan it the night before, because I'll talk to them about the roads coming up. It's kind of tricky talking to people like that, the locals, to figure out what are good roads, because they're not driving the roads from a horse perspective. And so what they think is a good road may or may not actually be, but it's still better than sometimes what my Google Maps say. So I have to at least review it the night before with them.
Absolutely. I'd be one of those people. I do traffic with Dave, we do traffic reports and we have to get people around stuff. But on a horse, I wouldn't be much help there. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're going to take our last break here. We're down the home stretch of KNCO Inside is Meredith Cherry. Apollo not here. Apollo's up in Washington State. We're going to get... that was terrible. Anyway, we'll continue our conversation. We'll be back here in moments. All right, KNCO news time, about 1:58 degrees. Home stretch of KNCO Inside as Meredith Cherry is back home. At least for a few more days. She'll be here through Mother's Day, right?
Yep.
All right. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there as well. They're wonderful people. Matter of fact, speaking of your mom, since I know Dad's listening, but since it is Mother's Day, what's your mom think of your trip? I mean, did she give you any advice before you left, and now that you're back, how's that been?
I think she was not sure what to expect. It was such a big project and not anything like she's ever thought about herself. She wasn't, and she's not a horse person. She'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
So she wasn't quite sure what is this crazy thing that my daughter's doing.
And so accurately put.
But she's been very supportive, and now that I've been on the road for 4+ months, she's getting it now, I think, and very supportive.
All right. What's the thing you love most about your mom?
Oh, well, pie crust.
Pie crust.
I love that. I love that you weren't like, I love her pie crust. You were just like, pie crust. That's what I love.
Oh, she made a banana cream pie last night, and she makes her own pie crust, and it's the best thing in the world.
There we go. I love that. I love that too. Okay, now
I'm hungry for pie.
No, just pie crust.
No, I want the pie.
The pie was good too, but the crust was the best part.
All right, enough with the pie. All right, here's the thing.
Tom doesn't like pie.
Now, TV people are seeing you with your Safe Place. It's a purple T-shirt, white lettering, Safe Place. Can you explain what this is all about, your T-shirt you're wearing, what that's all about?
Safe Place is a shelter for women in Olympia, Washington. And so I rode through the capital of Washington, Olympia, when I went through that area, straight through downtown, and saw the Capitol building and rode over to Safe Place to talk to the staff and volunteers that work there about what they're doing, about what I'm doing, and how we can each help people more. We each have a different perspective going into discussing domestic violence and what we each see as we're doing our things. So it was a wonderful opportunity to share perspectives like that.
So are you learning then too? I mean, learning from their different perspectives? That's another interesting thing.
Absolutely. What I'm doing is just encouraging people to talk about their experiences and share my experience with domestic violence to anyone who's curious, and help people see it's okay to talk about it because it's such a silent issue. There's a lot of shame still, victim shaming that goes on. And so I'm trying to just encourage the conversation, whereas they are more actively helping people in their communities who need to escape an abusive relationship or something to that effect.
All right. You've met a lot of people, obviously, so far on your trip. Any particular people stand out that you'd like to share? You know, what it was like spending a night at their place?
Oh, gosh. Every night has been full of nice people. Whoever puts me and Apollo up for the night. In Wheatland, the lady who put us up for the night came out the next day to find us along the road and brought me and Apollo treats for lunch, which was amazing. There have been, just people who stop and just want to give me a hug, and you can see it just makes their day that they get to give me a hug and give Apollo a hug and pet his nose. And, of course, Apollo loves that. He likes when anyone pulls up with their car and rolls down the window because he gets to stick his head inside.
He does.
He sticks his head all the way inside.
Wow.
And if there's kids in the back seat, he'll stick his head in the back seat and give them kisses. So,
what a sweet horse. I had no idea.
Yep.
So sweet.
There's been, lots of moments like that have been wonderful.
Can I tell you something about you and Apollo? When Gil was out there filming that first day, and he was a little rambunctious. Now, did he know that it was a big day, that it was the first day of this trip? Do you have a feeling that there was like too much excitement in the air or something? Because he wasn't well behaved.
He was overwhelmed. He, I think, did not understand what was going on, even though I'd been telling him for months.
Yes.
I don't think he believed me. And so we were finally there at the departure and at the send-off party, and Gil had his drone flying over my horse. He'd never seen a drone before, and that's certainly not something that horses are too fond about. And the applause and the flags, and it was a lot for him, but he did okay considering.
All right. But as a dad, I don't know how your dad felt, but as a dad, it was like, she's getting on that horse for how long? How many years? I mean, that's a long way to go. All right. I see we're going to run out of time. As far as people's one thing. How about food? Because I've shared with all the listeners that you had a dilly bar, I think it is, from DQ.
Best dessert ever. Well, maybe not as good as a banana cream pie.
But yeah, my mom's pie crust, you know.
Put the dilly bar in the pie crust.
Oh.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. Last week I had an ice cream filled donut. That was tops.
Oh, say this again. Ice cream filled donut.
It's a Seattle thing. Ice cream filled donuts.
Maybe you need to take that idea across the parking lot.
Yeah. I think that Nevada County definitely needs a shop that sells ice cream filled donuts.
All right. Okay. So, that stands out. Any other food that stands out that's kind of unique that you found along the way?
In Seattle, they like to have tater tots with their hamburgers.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a little
That's
unusual.
big in Portland, too. Tater tots on the menu. Yeah.
I thought that was a little strange, but good. Delicious. Mm-hmm.
All right. Have you become a coffee addict at all? You know, because I would think... I don't know why, but I think coffee would almost be necessary to kind of keep you going sometimes.
On one hand, I like taking Apollo through coffee drive-thrus.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Really? You do that?
Really.
So you go up with Apollo and he sticks his head over and what's the noise? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, can I get a double mocha?
Yep. And for the horse, what do you want, Apollo?
Carrot cake?
Yeah. But we go through drive-thrus. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. GoFundMe page. You do have a GoFundMe account. I think this is important to get out there. So please, people, write this down because you could use some extra money to make this trip happen. I know people have been very generous, but what's your GoFundMe page?
You caught me off guard. I don't actually know how to search for it. But if you go to my website, centauride.org, there's a button on the top that says support. And you click on that, and then on that page, there's a link to the GoFundMe. I believe if you go to GoFundMe, you just type in Centauride, and it should come up. That's CENTAURIDE.
Do you consider yourself a hero, a folk hero?
That's a big word. I don't know. I've had a lot of people call me one, so I guess so.
You are. Here's the truth. You know, a lot of times, matter of fact, Gil Dominguez that's filming this, he does a lot of sports games and stuff, and we throw that around in sports all the time about heroes. This is what they are.
Making a difference.
That's right. And this is on a day-to-day basis, person-to-person basis, and going through the entire nation to do so. That's Meredith Cherry. Check out her Facebook page at the Centauride. Just put in Meredith and Apollo to search. Probably the best way to do it, right? And keep in touch with her Facebook-wise. And if you know people up in the Pacific Northwest, as she steps off, help her make her way across the country. Meredith, all the best to you. Godspeed.
Thank you for having me.
And break a leg tonight, Kaylee.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, Fantasy of the Stars. All right, that does it for us. ABC News coming up next.
KNCO, Grass Valley, Nevada City.
All right, here's the thing, Meredith. Is it tougher riding a horse or being on the radio?
Oh, definitely riding a horse. Mm-hmm.
It is?
Yeah, definitely riding a horse.
That's a good answer.
Mm-hmm. Especially with a great host like you. So.
Look at her. All right. Make an extra copy for my board of directors, Gil. Thanks.